and in place that helped our son stand out in the admissions process and that gave us a peace of mind for how to create a financial roadmap for his future. Wow, that's great. Sounds like I need to give her a call. Yes, she definitely helped our son find the perfect college, meet all his deadlines, and help us feel less anxious about the whole process. You need to reach out to her. Just check out educationprepcenters.com and set up a complimentary assessment with Dr. Gina. You'll be so glad you did. Education Prep Centers, college admissions made easy.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Out-of-date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleburne, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleburne, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog.
Hi, I'm Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog. You know, when I get the hankering for a hot dog, I go to Cleburne, Texas. Just a couple blocks off the square, they got Loafing Dog. They got the Neely Dog, the Mary Sunshine Dog, the Casey Dog, and the Shirley Dog. Why, they even got the Pacer Dog, the Brooklyn Dog, and the Jim Dog. Can't forget the Shane Dog, or the Joy Dog, and the Monty Dog. I like that fool. The Nakia Dog and the Braxton Dog round things off. Why, they even got a kids menu too.
Loafing Dog, 208 East Chambers Street, Cleburne, Texas. Lunch, catering, or takeout, plus outdoor seating. Phone numbers 817-556-1040.
This is Wilfred Brimley. And don't forget, Loafing Dog won't give you diabetes.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leech Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson in Cleburne, Texas. Leech Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
Serving Johnson County, Texas, Joco Community Radio.
Hello, and welcome, Lila. Welcome to Real Estate Transactions with Professional Solutions. We're unfolding them today and every day. So I am Diana Roberts. I am going to be doing this solo today, so bear with me. But I think we're going to have a pretty good show still, and also just some good tips, advice, because, I know you guys all know that the market is pretty intense right now, right? There's this multiple offer situation that's happening. If you're a new buyer, I know you've got to be to the point where you just want to pull all your hair out. You are completely frustrated and are about to throw in the towel. So I've just got some things that I'm going to talk about today that are do's and don'ts with the current market frustration, because there's so much of it. I know there is. I know that a lot of us, me included, I had a moment where I really had to check myself. You have to like set back, you got to stand back, take some deep breaths and just chill and relax for a minute so that you can carry on. And so that's some of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. One of the things that I know that is really frustrating is the fact that these multiple offers, right? The multiple offers, like you're getting bought out by investors or by other buyers that are going way over the market price of what this property was listed as. So therefore, now you're in this situation where you may have already sold your house even and you still haven't even found a house. And so there's even that thing called contingency. So I'm going to break that down too. On a contingency, what that means is that typically in this market right now, especially, a contingency is where the buyer or the seller, actually also either or, buyer or the seller, they have it upon them selling their property or finding a property, therefore with the seller, right? So that is what a contingency is. A lot of those are being thrown out there right now too. And there is a lot of there's a lot of fear right now. And do I go ahead and list my house? Like, if I list my house, am I even going to find a house that I like? So, and then what's the market going to change into? Well, today we're really just going to break down some of that as well as talk about the do's and don'ts. Okay. For instance, don't get fatigued. Okay. One of the things that what's one of the main reasons why people get so frustrated is because they have lack of sleep, right? Lack of sleep, lack of uh, eating, keeping yourself healthy. So this goes for agents and buyers. At this point, you really need to make sure you're getting enough rest and make sure it's what your body needs in order to provide what you need to be able to do or conduct who you need to be professionally wise the next day. Me speaking as an agent, right? There are a lot of times where we get so frustrated and we get in our feelings and our emotions, and we have to recognize that. We have to take a step back and recognize that and understand that we are the professional, and so we need to act as act as such. So that's definitely a huge one, I think, for both buyer and agent. For the buyer, the reason you don't want to get too tired, for one, is because this is a very challenging situation right now. It's a very frustrating situation as is. So, with the lack of sleep, in worrying so much about, well, am I going to get this house? If I put an offer in this one, how's that going to work? Am I just going to continue to get bought out by all these other buyers that are putting more out there, or by the investors that are throwing cash buys out there? Where do I stand? So I would highly suggest, to be able to help your situation in that, to be able to find things that help you relax. Find things that you can do with your family that cause joy and happiness instead of thinking about the house situation and frustration, especially right before bed. Read one of your favorite books, listen to one of your favorite songs, take a hot steamed bath, with some candlelight and some spa music. That's one of my favorites, by the way. I love that. So, do some things that can really help promote peace and bring happy back in to your mindset in your life when going through this. When you're done looking at houses and you've already put that offer in, just let it go, put it off to the side. Don't even think another thought of it except for positive. And we'll get back to that. We'll get to that here soon, actually, as well. But because mindset's everything, right? So again, back to the fatigueness. It's huge when we can really take that time, no matter what's going on in our life. I mean, this works not just for right. This works not just for buying a house. It works for life in general. When we're frustrated, when we're upset, just take some deep breaths and find something. Get yourself in happy space, happy spot, whatever you want to call that, and get yourself there so that you can put all that aside. And again, you can get plenty of rest. So that is huge. That's a number one. And I had an article that I had read that really helped me kind of come up with some of the things that I've seen and some of the things that I would do or don't do. So I mean, it was really awesome. I definitely think finding resources too online, finding finding articles that have, great insight on a lot of these topics are huge too, and can also help you get you through the process as well. A do take charge. So what I mean by that is like really look at the market and look at where you're at. So, say that you continue to lose on these offers, right? And a lot of it's because people are pricing over what you're able and available to price. So let's go down on that price. Let's look at houses that are below that, right? Because if you're looking at houses that are a little below that, guess what? Now you have a little bit more of wiggle room. If, of course, you got to think about the appraisal or if you're going to waive the appraisal and if you can come up with the additional. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to think about, but take charge. Get educated on some of the different options that you have available to you to help you really get that offer. What things can I do? What creative ideas can I come up with to really help promote and make me look like the best offer? So there's so many things that we can do to accommodate on that too. So for instance, one of the things that we can do is, right, give them a little bit more of an option fee. Give them less time that they have to wait to get their house sold. Maybe they've already got a house that they're waiting to get into because they have to get their house sold first if it's contingent. So, like, there's some things to think about. Really dig deep and see what could really benefit your client, but also not put your client in the hole for the rest of their life. That's huge, right? None of us want to be in a situation where we're going to be broke or you know be oh, what is the word? Hello, it's just left me, guys. Hello, give me a minute. ah when you're bankrupt, you don't want to go bankrupt. So, and we don't want our clients to go bankrupt, so we need to really really think and really get creative right now. This is the time to get creative, get new ideas that can really help these buyers. Now another thing that I was thinking about that's a don't look at the home as a no. And what I mean by that is like, so right now I've had buyers that would go in a house and it's priced at their price, but of course the market's a little bit higher right now, right? So that's going to be a thing. It's going to be an issue. It might be a little bit less in square footage. It might be that it needs some updating. When you walk into that house though, and it's in your price range and it's probably one that you could totally get the offer on, look outside the box. Look at that property, walk in that house and have an open mind to what it could be or what you could do to make it what you need it to be, right? We're very creative and very imaginative beings, human beings. And so I really feel that there is a lot more that we could really look at instead of, because I know in our head when we're going to buy a house, especially when you have like this price and this amount that you think that you should be purchasing and you should be able to get. I know there's a lot of times where we're looking at these houses and we're not really seeing the potential because we've already put it in our head a vision of what we wanted and what we expect it to be when we walk in there. And pictures sometimes are not always the most accurate. So always keep that in mind too. They are accurate. It's just they're just a little dressed a little bit. They look a little more dressed, I feel sometimes because I will show a buyer a house and the next thing I know, it does not really reflect as well as the pictures reflected it in a good visionary sight when I'm walking in with my buyer. So I get it. I get it, you guys. However, and just think about it, if somebody's still living there too, take out all of their furniture, take out all of their clutter. This is where your imagination really needs to break through, right? Because there's potential in these properties. Investors are seeing it and investors are snatching them up like crazy. So why can't you, right? So I really highly suggest just getting a little bit more in depth with your imagination and really looking at these houses as what it can be and what you could do with it and how long it would take to maybe even get there. So I really highly suggest that. I think that's huge. So the biggest one out of all of them, and I can't believe I said again. I usually don't do that. That's crazy. I did it again. Okay. There you go. You get a little laugh with me. So the one of the do's though, and the biggest one, in my opinion, is to keep a positive mindset. Your attitude is everything in life, in your family. Your attitude is everything in your job, your career. It needs to be in this too. I know it seems like it's so hard and it's such a struggle, and there's so many things that there's these walls that just keep continuing to not break in front of you, and you just want it to break down, right? So that you can pass through it and finally be somewhere. And I get that. I 100% get that. However, keeping a positive mindset and your agent keeping a positive mindset too is huge. Is huge. And that's why I'm talking to agents too. Agents, keep your mindset as just as positive as you need your clients to be, because this is a hard time. It is a struggle. However, there are clients that are purchasing houses and they're getting the houses that they want. So therefore you should be able to as well. And I think keeping that positive mindset and not getting frustrated and getting enough sleep and all of these things that we've already touched base on, those are going to be huge things that could really potentially help you get there a lot faster. Because I feel like a lot of times, like especially like I've worked with a buyer and we were not getting anywhere, and there was just nothing that would work. And that happens. It happens, and it's okay. It's okay. We're all different, right? So, however, I think back and I think, well, that imagination would have been so handy, because I could see that she saw potential in some, but that imagination was just really lacking in what she really could have done, or he. Is a he or she, but what they could have done to be able to really visualize and see this property to work for them and to be actually pretty amazing. Because I'm gonna tell you, I saw a house not that long ago, and then I went and saw it again after an investor had come in and cleaned it up and made it look brand new again. I was like, wow, if I had visioned it the way this investor had visioned it, I would live here any day. I would have bought this place and made it just like this. Like, they did a really phenomenal job. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. And if you may not have maybe that well of imagination when looking in a house, bring somebody within your family that you know does. Bring somebody that you know that has turned their house that you saw when they first bought it. You're like, ooh, why did you buy that? And then like months later, right, you go back over and it's amazing. And you're like, wow, you really did a great job with this place. That's the person to bring with you. Okay, that is the person to bring with you, or even a contractor that you really like or that you know too. Those are not bad ideas either. Take them with you when you're looking at these properties, because sometimes they can give you ideas and give you little tidbits of things that can and can't be done. So now you have even more of a good imaginative visual though of what it's capable of. And so I think that's huge as well. The last one I have, well, no, that's not the last one. I'm sorry. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you really need to find a new place and you don't, but don't settle either. So don't get me wrong. I'm not telling anybody to settle. And I'm not telling anyone to, you know, this may not be the right time for you to be looking, possibly. I mean, that's also that's also a possibility, right? So instead of giving up, what I mean by that is continue to look. Continue to look, because something might pop up. Instead of like throwing in the towel completely and saying, don't send me any more properties, I'm done. Instead of doing, having that mindset, continue to look, continue to have new listings that pop up on the market, continue to look at those and see if there's something that actually shows up that's worth looking at, that's worth taking some time to actually really look into and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. I highly suggest that. Highly suggest that. Keep those emails coming. I know they can take up a lot of your email. I get that too. Trust me, I get the same email you get. So, so that would be one of those things that I would definitely say, just keep letting them come in and open them when you can and take a look at them. Another thing that I want to point out too is, when you do find something that you really like, don't take the time don't say, oh, well, I've got to work. I've got to do this. I can't see it until this weekend. See if your agent will take you later in the evening, even if it's dark. I highly, highly suggest that, because the more time that you wait to go look at the property, the less time you might have to actually officially gain and get that property. Now you may have lost your chance, because there are some sellers out there that are just like first one that comes, first come, first serve. So that's still out there. That is still out there. So I would highly suggest too, making sure to just get out there as soon as possible, even if it's late, even if you've worked a really hard day, but this is the house that you've been looking for months now. Go that night. Go when you get off work. I know you're tired. You can grab dinner on the way back home. You guys can talk about it and put an offer in. So that would be a suggestion that I would put out there as well. A lot of us agents, yes, we are a little more tired as well because we are working kind of over the clock, especially depending on how many clients we have. So also keep that in mind too. Again, if I know my client's really, really interested in it, this is something that I've kind of started putting together. I've already started the paperwork somewhat so that if they do decide and I know it's going to be a late night, I kind of have it ready. If you're an agent, I think that's huge. It's definitely managing your time a little bit better to where you actually have some downtime too and you're able to get some extra sleep as well. So I highly suggest that too, agents. You guys can, if you guys have any questions or if you guys have anything that you want to say about any of this, please call in. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear. I'm here today. I would love to hear from you. So yes, please, if you have any questions or if you want to make any comments, you can definitely chat with me on here as well. And in fact, I don't think I'm on the chat, so you may have already been chatting with me. Okay, there we go. Do keep a positive mindset. Yes. Yes. Positive mindset is huge. Absolutely huge. So yeah, if you have any questions, please call in. I look forward to answering any questions that you have. Anything that maybe you're going through right now, anything that maybe you feel like, well, could I do this? Maybe it's an idea that you have, but you haven't had the courage maybe to talk to your agent, ask your agent about it. Because no question is a stupid question in real estate. I'm not going to lie to you. There's no stupid question. And it's better to know than not to know. I can't tell you how many times I've had my buyers or even sellers, say, "Well, I have a stupid question for you." And I always laugh and I'm like, "It's okay. Like there's no stupid question in this. This is new to you. That's why you hired a professional, right? That's why you hired us so that we can give you the right advice and tools and also give you an insight that is going to really help you be able to determine what you need to do next." So, and that's another thing, make sure that you are informed, make sure that you know what's going on. Continue to work with your agent and if you do have any ideas, well, can we do this to help me get the offer? Ask it. I'm telling you, there is no stupid question, none whatsoever. So the other thing that I had was stay on a good time. Oh, wait, I did. I touched base on that. Hey, that was basically going to go back over, I know you have to work. We understand agents, we understand that you have to work and that you have a schedule and we have a schedule too. So we have to work around each other's schedule. And we really try to do that as best as possible to help you guys to find what you're looking for. And just know that we will, in knowing how the market is right now. I know there's been times where I really didn't want to go that late. However, I knew that if we didn't, this client could possibly lose that opportunity. So I feel agents, that's a good mindset to have. It really is, especially in the market right now. And that's going to gain you to get referrals as well as get you more clients that are coming in for sure. Right. Because they're like, well, this lady, she really didn't want to come. I could kind of tell. But she did anyway because she knew that I might lose this opportunity. She'd be great. You should definitely hire her. So I definitely feel that is key. That is very key. Just, even if you think your agent doesn't want to work that late, if that's the time that works for you and it is on a time schedule, definitely just ask. Just ask and do it. Do it if you can. So, those were all of the do's and don'ts that I have for, this frustrating market. And the next thing that I'm going to touch base on is, a little bit more on the buyer process. I know last time we had talked about, I'd read out what a buyer had sent me that was some of the things that were frustrating or some of the things that she wished could have been or didn't need to be. And I know one of the things that I really didn't touch too much on was the option Earnest. I know we kind of touched base on that, but we didn't touch base on the inspection and the appraisal process. and how the appraisal works. I feel like that might be something that we should definitely touch base on today too, since this is going to be a whole buyer. We're going to basically be going through what the buyer process is and just giving you information on what you might need to know as a buyer before going into this, and something you may not have known. I might be able to express that to you too. You may not think you're able to purchase a house right now due to credit score or finances or whatnot, but I do have some insight on that too. And I definitely want our lender. He will be on next time. I'm hoping that he will be able to make it next time, because I would love to have him really touch more base on that, because he's got way more of the insight. Of course, I'm not the lender, I am the agent. I try to stay in my lane. Okay. I really do. And I think that that's the best way to go about providing the best professionalism for me to my clients, is staying in my lane. If I'm not a lender, I don't need to be giving you lending advice. Now, if you have a question, I will refer you. If it's a lending question, I will refer you to the lender every time. I assure you. I can tell you what well, this is what's happened in the past, but I don't know what your situation is. So I really don't know what to tell you. I think you need to talk to the lender or ask the lender that question. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to your lender, I think that that's something you definitely need to talk to your agent about as well. So within this, even, I mean, the going over market price, right? Like a lot of that happening, a lot of these crazy offers of like 20 to 50 to 70,000 over. Um, just talking to your lender and knowing what you can and can't, how far, what's your spectrum? What's your financial gain if you go over, right? I think talking to your lender and knowing that with them is ideal as well. And I highly suggest having that conversation with your lender as well. Um, Only because you don't want to put yourself in a financial risk or a financial situation that could really hurt you later in the future, right? So what I would say is have a list when you're going to meet with your lender. And I'll start with this before we go to break. Have a list of what you wanted to ask your lender in this market. Have that list. What can I do to help gain this offer, help win this offer? What can I do to, how much more am I able to put towards my loan without hurting myself financially? Um, and questions along those lines that are just going to benefit you rather than hurt you, right? Those are huge questions. And you want to just make sure that you're not putting yourself in a tight spot. That's my biggest thing. And that's my biggest concern with all of my clients right now is just don't put yourself in a bad spot where you're financially going to hurt. That's your livelihood. If do you like taking vacations, well, we might want to rethink this price. And talk to your lender. Say, I like to vacation. I like to do these things. Am I still going to be able to do all of these things if I go to that amount? Or do I just need to start looking at houses that are a little less? And remember, I don't feel like that's a bad idea. I do not feel like that's a bad idea. And with the imagination, having a contractor, you might be out less money in the long run doing small projects to get that house up and running the way you want it to and looking the way you want it to than, you know, buying a house that is exactly what you want right now. We got to think about that too, right? So that would be that's my number one key in this market right now for sure, and it's what I talk to a lot of my buyers about, and it's what I talk to a lot of the other agents that are around me about too. And surprisingly enough, a lot of us are on the same page with that. So that's good news. That's really good news. I know we love our commission checks. Don't get me wrong. However, we want to make sure our clients are good. I know I do for sure. That is my main goal, is to make sure my buyer walks away from this sale feeling happy, joy, and good about their purchase, and not feeling like they're going to be eating ramen for the next month or two, maybe more, or have to get a second or third job. I really don't want to say that. So don't do that. Really, really, really dig into your financial status, and definitely make sure, even if in a crisis, I always tell a lot of my buyers, like, hey, if something were to happen, do you have a game plan? So I think that that's huge as well. I know we are about to go on break here very, very soon, so I don't want to go into the next topic just yet. Hello, main goal, making sure my clients are happy when selling or buying. Oh, I love that. Yes. That's huge. That's all we want. That's all we want as local realtors. And I'm glad that you are right there with me, Sabrina. Heck yeah, I love that. All right, I guess we're going to take a break. We will be right back, and I will talk to you guys soon.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Serving Johnson County, Texas. Joco Community Radio.
All right. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are talking real estate. We were talking about the do's and don'ts earlier, but I'm going to read this really quick. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. The Joco Community Radio app is now available for free and on Android and iOS devices. Simply search your store. Check out our lineup and more on jokercommunityradio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844.tex.HAIL, 844-839-4245. All right. So let's get back into some real estate. So what we're going to be talking about now, unless if you do have something that at any time during the show, the second segment, if you have anything that you want to add onto the do's and don'ts, please do. Love to have some more insight on that as well. However, for right now, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the buying process, right? So now we got multiple offers on the table. So option and earnest. Let me break that down for you guys, okay? So that you understand exactly what the option is and that you understand what earnest is, okay? I know a lot of times, especially you first-time buyers, you have no idea what this is. and then you don't know that it's going to happen right after you've written an offer and when you're going to have to pay it. And then that sometimes can be a shock to you. So here is my advice to agents. Agents, please make sure that you guys are giving them this information in a buyer packet, a first-time home buyer packet. I have one put together already. So if you don't have one and you might need some help with that, I got you. So message me and maybe I can send mine over to you. I don't mind sharing. I am all about sharing. Sharing is caring. So, so one of the things that I definitely like to touch base with my new buyers, even buyers that haven't bought in a while, they don't remember this stuff. So we still have to go over that with them. So anyway, let's go over option. Okay. And I'm writing this down while we're going over this. Option is the time frame that you are, let's say it's the time frame that you're basically purchasing in a way to the seller to have an inspector come out, take a look at the property, and find out if there's any major issues or anything that you would like addressed before continuing on with the purchase of that home. So, a lot of times what that amount looks like, it looks like 150, or you can even do more. So sometimes in these multiple offer situations, I've seen people go up to 1,000 and have a 7-day option. Now, a 7-day option is typically what a lot of us agents recommend. Usually it only takes 7 days for us to get through all of that, typically. I push on that. So I try to do my best to make that happen 100%. On that 7th day, I better already have everything signed and ready to go. So if you're an agent like me, you're like, okay, we have this day. I am not waiting until 5 p.m. to figure out what we're doing, people. We're going to figure it out 2 days or the day before at least. No later than. Am I right? Because then you're just putting yourself in a little bit more chaos. And then you might have to do an amendment to extend that option period. Now you can extend that option period. Here are some of the reasons why the option period can be extended. Sometimes the option period can be extended. Say the report came back or the inspection report came back and there are a couple of things that the inspector pointed out, however, stated that you need to have an HVAC professional or a plumber or a professional plumber come out to actually really evaluate the situation, or a roofer. Say getting one of those guys out there maybe hasn't been able to happen within the day, those 7 days, to make sure that this is going to happen in those 7 days. Now it's time to talk about maybe extending that option period out a little bit. A lot of times I haven't really seen in my situation, when I've had this situation, I haven't really seen it, push out the close date. I really haven't seen that a whole lot of that happening in that process. However, I've heard about it happening. So I'm sorry if that happened to you. However, just, keep in mind it happens. It absolutely happens. And sometimes it can. And a lot of times, the only time I've seen that happen really is if the roofer or the HVAC guy, to schedule it to get it actually fixed due to weather or whatnot, push that out a little too far to where now we do have to close later, especially if it's an FHA. And loans, I'm telling you right now, I'm not a lender. So I will not be going over the loans with you. However, I can go over more of this with you. So let's continue. Anyway, so that's the option is something that you can go as low as, I would not go lower than 5 days. I have seen on there 3 days. You're going to be filling out an amendment to extend that option. 3 days is just not enough time to get an inspector out there, inspect the property, figure out what's wrong with it, and then even give you any time to have a professional come and look at it if it might be a major issue that may look that way, right? Oh, I love that, Sabrina. Sorry, I just saw this. She was saying, I remind them not to add new debt. Huh, huge, right? Do not add any new debt. That's what I was saying. Break down your finances. Break them down. Know what you can spend and what you can afford, and what you need to not go over in order to put yourself in such a bad, tight spot, right? Like, you don't need to be going and getting 3 jobs to afford a house. I don't feel that is something that we ever should have to do. So hopefully nobody is doing that right now. I'm sorry if you are. You'll get there though. Stay positive. It's okay. Things will work out. I know they will. Things always do, and things always work out in the end run, in the end game. Okay, so back to the option. So typically 5 to 7 days. Again, I would not go under 5 days. Just don't do it. It's more paperwork. Nobody needs more paperwork. And 150 to, again, you could go up to $1,000. How appealing do you want your offer to look? This is money in their pocket. You don't get that back. So sometimes that is where a lot of sellers want to see a little bit more of. I am just giving you some heads up. Next is your earnest money, right? So you've got your earnest money. Your earnest money is always 1% of your sales price. 1% of your sales price. Do not go under your sales price. Even if you want to bump up your option period, keep that earnest money at 1%. I'll tell you why. Sellers do not like to see anything under 1% on that earnest. That does not look good to them. They do not like it. It kind of worries them in thinking, do you have the money to actually buy this house? And so it's a little scary for them. So earnest money is basically your deposit, right? So that's what you're putting towards, and that's what you're telling the seller, hey, this is how much I really want to buy your house. I'm putting 1% down right now. It's going to go towards my sales price, and I will not get that back if I do not perform in the specific performance that is in this contract. And so what that means, right, is that you are now in writing. Everything is in writing. It's all been signed. Now you both are obligated to perform under that contract. So if one does not, if the buyer does not, the seller gets to keep the earnest money. If the seller does not, the buyer gets their earnest money back. So that's basically how that earnest money works. So then now we've got what comes next. And let me tell you when these happen. Okay. You have 3 days after you execute that contract. That means when it was signed, saying that all parties have signed the contract, the day that all parties signed, that's an executed contract. Once it's executed by the agent, because all parties have signed the contract, now you've got your option and earnest money within 3 days. Does not matter if it's on a weekend. So say you have signed and executed a contract on Friday, get with your agent and say, I'm going to need a FedEx label so that I can mail this out, or get with the title company, and now they can also wire that to the title company as well. Make sure you have confirmed the wiring instructions with the actual title company before wiring any money, because there is wire fraud, right? So keep that in mind as well. Now that is, again, in 3 days. 3 days time, you have to make sure you have that option and that 1% of that sales price to go to title. That's huge. A lot of buyers, they don't know that they need that, especially if you have like programs like with assistance, with the I can't. Oh my goodness. Hello, Diana. I'm having a brain fart. So that down payment, that down payment, the original down payment, not the earnest money, but the down payment. Sometimes you can get down payment assistance programs, right? And you're able to get your down payment to where you can have it put into your loan. So you don't actually have to pay that money on the day of closing. You're still paying it out within your loan that the lender is providing you. Okay. So even with down payment assistance programs, I have seen where buyers did not understand that they had to have this too. And that's huge, right? The last thing we want to do is have to break a contract because they don't have option or earnest money. So make sure that your agent, or that you know that you have 3 days to get option and earnest to title. Huge. I can't push on that any more than what I already have, I think. All right. So the next step is going to be your inspection. Now, this is something that you have to have up front as well before closing. Inspection is right now they're ranging anywhere from, I would say, $350 to $450. And really that depends on the inspector. That depends on the drive time. Right now, with the gas prices being a little escalated, I know that a lot of companies, including inspectors, are putting a little bit extra towards that, just for the gas. So keep that in mind. However, so there we go. Now we've got 150 to 1,000 for option. We've got 1% of that sales price. So say the property is 350,000. You're having to come up with 3,500 to put towards that earnest. Okay. Just so we have like some kind of math and like we're looking at the math figures right now. Now you've got your inspection. Your inspection is anywhere from 350 to 450. So you got to add that too. That will be happening. Remember that option period. You had 5 to 7 days. So within the 3 days after you've already sent option and earnest money, you're also going to be paying an inspector between that 5 and 7 days that you have for option. Typically, it's the day of inspection. You don't get the report until you pay the inspector. So that's how that works. Then after that, you're going to have the appraisal. Now, the appraisal kind of happens. I've seen it happen in different time frames of the transaction. And a lot of times the appraisal can be anywhere from 600 to 1,000. And really that's based upon square footage. It can be even more than that if it's farm and ranch. So keep that in mind as well. And that is the buyer. The buyer pays that. Then also you've got your title policy that is at closing. If you are taking care of the title policy, you have that in line as well, which that typically is anywhere from 1,000. I would say I might be estimating a little higher. It could be anywhere from 1,600 or up. Okay, no more than 2,000 though. Typically, I haven't really seen any more than 2,000 unless again you are farm and ranch or commercial. Farm and ranch commercial, they're going to have those higher numbers on those areas. So let's go back to the appraisal though before we go into the title policy stuff. So because I'm basically breaking all this down for you. Therefore, you know some of the different ideas and creativeness that you can get with these offers, these multiple offer situations. So let's go back. Appraisal. Appraisal is going to be where the appraiser comes out, right? He looks over the entire property and gives you a market value, or he gives you a value of the property, an opinion of the property value, which theirs is a lot more set than when us agents, when we give you a market analysis that is completely different than what an appraiser might give you. I'm just giving you a heads up. They actually go through all of the different variables that we don't go to the house, we don't measure it. We don't measure the roof from one corner to the next corner. We don't map that out. We don't do any of that. That's an appraiser's position and that's an appraiser's job. So they actually get out there and really get into it to really discover that value of that property. And of course, the reason that we need that, right, is for your lender. Your lender needs that in order to determine if the loan amount that he is providing you is not going to hurt him, but yet keep him within the ballpark that you guys have discussed and you guys have agreed upon with your with the loan amount that was provided to you, right? So again, that appraisal. Oh, I've got a call coming in. Hold on one second. Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, good day. Am I speaking to Sandra?
No, you have the wrong number. I'm actually on the radio right now. You're on the radio with me. How are you?
All right, okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, that was great. I bet I made her day. I'm like, yeah, you're on the radio. How you feel about that? Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's get back to what we were talking about on the appraisal. So the appraisal, there is right now, an appraiser or appraisal waiver. Let's touch base on that. A lot of the offers that are coming in right now have those in place. Not all of them. What that means, there's a couple of different options on that, and I really wish I had the form in front of me because I could really break it down, and I'll probably do that next show. I'll really break down the appraisal. I'll break down that form with you guys next time, but I'm just going to give you a gist of what I'm seeing more of right now. Okay, what I'm seeing more of right now is they are waiving if it does not surpass or exceed the amount that they are providing for the sales price that they are offering you. Okay. So say they are offering you 20, maybe 50,000 over. Okay. They're basically saying on that document that whatever exceeds the amount of my loan that the lender is providing to me, I will pay the remainder of that if it does not exceed this amount that they provide to you on that form. Now, sometimes it can be what exactly their loan amount would be, or it could be, that it could be the amount that they actually offered. So make sure you understand that and you have expressed that with your agent and you understand what they are saying in the amounts that they're going to go ahead and provide over that amount if you're the buyer. You need to understand how that form works 100%. Because let's say you go to closing. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I had this happen. I had a buyer. He said that he could go over that amount because his dad had told him that he would help him out and give him that money. Well, when it came down to closing time, this is where my negotiation skills really had to come into place. I'm just saying. So the dad decided that he didn't want to do that. And now I'm in a pickle. I'm like, oh, okay, this could really break this deal. This could be really bad for all parties involved. Don't want to do that. So I worked really hard with negotiating with that agent in working something out with and working out with my buyer. I was like, buyer, what can you pay? How much can you pay? Getting as close as possible towards this out of your own pocket. And so we were able to still save that deal and make that deal work. However, it does not always happen that way. It takes some mad skill and it all which you might have, but it takes some mad skill and it takes some definite getting that buyer to really come up with majority of that money to save that deal. So, okay, yeah, Sabrina's saying the partial waiver and a full waiver. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's basically what I was just talking about. There's a partial waiver and then there's a full waiver. Full waiver would be the full sales price of what they're offering you, and then that partial waiver is what they would only be able to provide if that loan if it does not appraise for that amount that they're offering you and what the loan amount would be able to be provided to you. Um, I hope I'm saying that I feel like I'm saying that correctly. But yes, that's basically what that is about. And you just have to be careful. You have to be really careful with that form, agents included. Agents, please make sure you understand that form too. If you don't understand that form, you're new, get with your broker so that your broker can really break that form down for you, because that could really hurt you as being an agent. With I mean, you got to understand, these are legal documents that we are working with, and we're not attorneys. So we really need to make sure that we are giving our clients the best advice. But however, one of that advice needs to be, if you're still not understanding this, I need you to reach out to an attorney and have an attorney look this over. That is the number one thing to say to your client. I can give you an explanation of this to the best of my ability. I am not an attorney. So if you're not understanding this, we really need to seek out an attorney for you. You need to seek out an attorney with these documents and go over them with the attorney so that the attorney can explain this to you in legal terms, because it is a legal document. So we need to make sure we're doing that as well. Okay, agents, 100%. But make sure you know what you're having your clients fill out. I'm just saying, make sure you know what they're filling out. And make sure you know the back, all of that story too. Like I said, my client was saying his dad was going to cover it. I don't think I'd let that happen again. I think I learned the lesson on that one. I was like, we need to see the money now. We need to see that check now and talk to your lender about how to receive that check. And I'll go over, the lender's going to help us with that one. I may have, I may not have needed to go there just yet. I really need my lender here, because then we can really talk lending shop, right? But anyway, let's continue. So, we also, I was just checking to see if I missed anything. I don't have anything missed right there. Title policy. The title policy. Now, this is to protect the buyer when receiving the title, right? It's to protect the buyer in receiving the title to make sure it's free and clear. Now, the seller typically covers this. In this market, I would not expect for the seller to have to do this, because the seller has the upper hand right now. And if you were in the market and you're buying right now, I would go ahead and cover that title policy. I would just cover it. It's really not that bad in price. If you can do it, I suggest doing it. It will definitely make your offer look a lot more appealing. Now, let's go to the survey. Now, typically the buyer takes care of the survey. Typically. I don't know. This one can be hit or miss. It can be either or. I mean, that's when negotiations come into play. That's when us agents are back and forth. Hey, my client doesn't want to pay for the survey. And then the seller's agent is like, my seller doesn't want to pay for the survey either. And then it's so much fun. I love my job. I'm really passionate and I love my job. This is where it gets fun, is the back and forth sometimes. I know you agents that are listening, if you're listening, or if you listen later, I know you understand what I'm talking about. when we really want to make a deal happen and we really want the negotiation to just go our way. And it's not our way, is it? It's not our way. It's our buyer and our seller. This is them. This is all them. It has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with them. Okay. So we need to make sure that we are negotiating regardless, we need to make sure we are negotiating and keeping their best interest, right? It's their interest. It's not ours. This is in their best interest. It's like, say I was going to buy a vehicle, okay? And the sales guy at the car dealership, I know a lot of us don't like going to the car dealership, and we don't like dealing with car salesmen or women. And a lot of us don't like going to realtors. It's just a thing. It's a sales position. Nobody really likes the salesman. They do, but they don't. Like, it's a love-hate relationship, right? So it would be like me going and trying to purchase a vehicle, and this is why sometimes car salesmen and women don't have the best of reps, right? Because when we go over there, they are haggling us. They are haggling and they are negotiating, and they are going back to their manager, and their manager's coming back with a different price than what we said. We said, I am going to walk out of here with this price for this car. Like, we're the person buying it, and we are telling them what we're going to do. And that guy keeps going back and forth telling me what I'm going to do. Now, how do you think that feels when you're trying to buy a house? How do you think that feels when you're trying to sell a house? So, agents, I'm just letting you know, let's really think on that. Let's not be car salesmen or women. And I'm not saying all of you guys are. Trust me, I was a car saleswoman, and I was very different. My managers questioned how I made sales as much as I did. I kid you not. Because they were like, how do you even make this happen? But I was honest. I was truthful. It's a good thing. It's a good quality to have. So anyway, we don't need to haggle with our buyer and seller. We just need to negotiate with the other agent. That's all that needs to occur. That's it. If our seller says, no, I'm not paying that. Okay. All right. That's us in our head. Okay. Shit. No, it's not really. Not all the time. A lot of times it's like, okay. All right. I'm going to call the agent. We're going to make this happen. Or we're going to see what we can do. So that's what I'm saying. Negotiation is huge. Just make sure, though, that you are continuing with taking what your buyer or your seller is telling you to do and rolling with it. Roll with it. Make it happen. You are the negotiator. There's a book. I can't remember the name of the book. All right, I promise you I will bring this book with me next time so that I'll even have some notes on it. But it is a negotiating book. It was a guy that was an FBI agent, and he talks about his negotiating skills and with being in the FBI, and he breaks it down in when he goes into a sales position. I'm like, what? It's a really good book. I highly recommend it if you're an agent. I guess on that note, I'm going to take us out, and I will be back next Wednesday at 5:00. We did change our time. I look forward to hearing you or talking to you guys next Wednesday or Tuesday at 5. Bye, guys.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.